Now, today I told you we're looking at the various African dressings, African dressing styles, or unique styles of dressing. And when you're looking at dressing, you're talking about people wearing a setting attire. And I mean, being identified by it, it shows in different ways. It tells you in different places. You can look at how somebody is dressed, and then you'll be able to tell that, okay, this person is from A, this person is from B. And so when it happens like that, you don't need to go and say, oh, where are you from or something. And in Africa, we're not necessarily off that track. When you see somebody in a certain form of kente, some people call it kente. Kente is actually from the Ashanti region. Some people call it kete, that's from the Volta region. And then we have the fugu, and it cuts, I mean, there are different places and the kind of clothes they wear and the kind of fabrics used actually in making some of those clothes. And you can determine, okay, this is from this part, this is from that part. But our identity as a people, identity as a community, identity as an ethnic group, I mean, it relates through everything from our food, which we discussed here sometime, to the various things we look at, the various things we do, our dance, we've talked about that already, and our clothing. Now, one thing I found particular was I get kind of excited when I see the Kenyans actually have this thing they put around their neck. I don't know, when you actually watch on the screen, you actually see an image of it right now. It's beaded and it's so beautiful. Like, just look at that. So many beautiful colors, wonderfully woven together, and then they make beautiful things out of it. And just look at it. They adorn themselves with the men. The one the men put around their neck is not so. Let's say it's not that much embroidered or heavy laden with so much colors as compared to the ones the women use on themselves. But you look at the various dressings, you look at the various styles they use, and they have it for different occasions and for different things. So most often, you should be able to look at something and tell that, okay, this is from A, this is from B, this is from C. So don't forget, you can look at the screen. Now, we currently have somebody, all these dresses are actually from Ethiopia. You look at the people from Ethiopia and the way they dress is different. But then it's not just about putting on something or wearing something. The design in her dress currently, you go find out, has a story behind it. For every fabric, every color chosen, every pattern drawn or made, there's a story behind it, there's a reason for it, and that is what we're going to be looking at here on the Africa Daily Show. It's something that we were keen on. This week, we're ending the whole African Heritage Week, and we couldn't just, I mean, we've looked at dance, we looked at music, we looked at food. We can't just jump ship and not necessarily look at what we wear. What is like the first, even before you speak to somebody, when you look at how they're dressed, it determines how you will address them. So that's what we'll be looking at on the Africa Daily Show today. My co-host in the studio with me, Mamia Baramwaminta, Barry Musa, and Hafiz Guru. And yes, we're about to start the discussion zone. Like I mentioned, we're looking at the various dressing styles as pertaining to the unique cultures you have. You know, somebody's dressing tells you where they're from. So, Hafiz, welcome. Maud, okay, I don't need to welcome you. You already started the show with me, so
But you can still welcome me now.
I don't want to. Thank you.
I like your headgear. I don't know.
Well, thank you. You know, yesterday was Eid, so yeah,
Still in the east.
we are representing.
Behave yourself. Behave yourself.
Okay, so starting with you, Hafiz. Which I don't want to say. Okay, which ethnic groups dressing have you been able to identify? You saw somebody in a setting at time, you're able to say this person is from this particular place, and don't mention your hometown.
Oh, well, that's a quite difficult thing to do. But anyway, dressings. Which people we are talking about?
I'm asking who have you ever seen and been able to say?
Oh, the
this person
Gruns. The Gruns. It's not my hometown, but I grew up there, so
Okay, so you were able to identify.
people call them Frafres, but it's actually Gruns. Yeah.
Okay.
So, is that it?
Yeah, I just wanted to.
Oh,
I still
okay.
have a feeling it's close to your hometown, but I'm not going to say anything.
That's not my hometown.
Okay.
Anyway, dressing and the way you appear speaks volumes about you. I mean, there's a saying that you should dress the way you want to be addressed.
Yeah.
Yes, and by extension, I mean clothing speaks volumes about the kind of person you are. It's a strong expression of the kind of person you are in terms of identity, in terms of character, in terms of status. Uh, so largely, I mean, it's a kicker for first impressions. I mean, a person looks at you, one look at you, and they definitely size you up just by the way you look or appear. So, I mean, we have these things. It's just human nature to do some of these things. Okay. And I think recently there's been this, some amalgamation of the traditional and the Western style, where you have these two that tend to speak volumes. I mean, we dress for certain traditional purposes, we dress for certain religious and ethnic purposes. And in the Western style, well, someone puts on or looks Western and it connotes power or literacy, it connotes, all kinds of things. And but also dressing is a way of sending out certain messages. So like you have sometimes teenagers when they want to be rebellious, they tend to look a certain type of way just to get the attention of parents. Some will start, accessorizing and wearing all kinds of weird stuff, piercings here and there. So naturally, the way you look, sends a lot of messages around. But in terms of, let's come down to the African culture and the way we look. I mean, in Ghana, I'm sure you can identify people simply by what they wear and how they look and which part of the country they come from. Now, in looking into the whole, the whole issue surrounding that, I think I chanced on, not even for this conversation, I think previous conversations on different platforms, I chanced on this interesting group from Namibia. Yes, they are called the Herero tribe. Now, the interesting thing about them is, till date, they still dress like their colonial masters. And their reason is that it's a form of protest against their German colonialists who tried to wipe them from the face of the earth. They were butchered. In fact, this was a group that numbered close to 80,000 in the 1900s, and they had to fight for their existence, basically, so against the Germans. And by the end of that 4-year war, they were reduced to about 15,000. So it was bloody. It tells you a lot. And they decided to pick up the way they look because it's a show of strength. It's some form of subversion of their fashion. And the thinking was that, I mean, when you wear their clothing, it transfers that power to you. Okay, so they no longer hold that, that edge over you. So they seem to, dress in that 19th. They still appear in that 19th century.
Way. Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, if you just do a quick Google of them, you'd see some very interesting pictures of them and how they appear. And I found that quite intriguing, really. I mean, but these days it's something they wear occasionally for weddings and funerals. And yes, it's not something. It's called the horokova. They dress in yes. So it's quite a unique style anyway, in terms of the way they appear.
No, that's interesting. I mean, an interesting way to hold on to or pick onto something, just to make it just cast off its power from you. Yeah, thank you, Barry.
Yeah, dressing. Yes, I would say dressing from what I have seen or what I have learnt about it is that it has evolved over the years. The way our fathers, mothers used to dress back in the days is not the same way that they dress now. So things have changed. I mean, I remember when we used to have the likes of let me even talk about the Western style that we used to have here. Talk about the baggy jeans, the big white T-shirts. You wear the do-rag and this and everything. Obviously, fashion trend has changed. But bringing it back to our own culture, Africa, I think the beauty of it is that now sometimes you don't identify or you hardly can tell this particular person where they are coming from because of the assimilation nature of our cultural pattern, because in our base Ghana, you see a bride fully dressed in the Igbo, cultural attire, and you wonder why. What is the problem? Why are they not in their own? But to some extent, you go like, okay, maybe they are appreciating, the cultures of the Igbo, right? The way they dress, the beads, this and that. You see someone totally looking like an Igbo bride.
Oh, yeah.
But she is a Muslim. Okay, but I feel initially there's that question of why are you shying away from your own, but on On the other hand, you realize that no, it's not like they wear it throughout the wedding ceremony. Like a one face thing, like maybe on Wednesday or Friday, she wears it, take pictures and everything, and even go to the extent of actually performing some of the rites of the Igbos. Like the husband comes to sit with his friend and she holds what something,
Yeah,
some Zoom com or whatever.
I think it is buying into different cultures.
But I think is yeah, to some extent. Initially, I felt, why are you shying away from yours? But I realized that it's kind of like appreciating because at the end of the day, we are one people, you know. So that demonstrates that unity, which I think is still, you know, shaky amongst some, you know, because some people still feel no, we don't need to associate ourselves with some ethnic group. It exists. That's the truth.
Okay, yeah,
You
there's
get me?
that.
Exactly. But when we cultivate this habit, I mean, when was it? When we were talking to Mama Oluchi, talking about she getting married to a Yoruba. So obviously, if she's getting married to a Yoruba man, she would definitely maybe dress like a Yoruba to some extent. You know, with the gele, as they are known to wear, and maybe sometime wear her Igbo stuff. But I think it has changed, and now it's not necessary. You don't need to see an Igbo, a Hausa woman dressed like in Ghana, dressed in a Hausa attire. You may see her in an Igbo, you know, what do you call it, attire and cultural dresses. So I think is for me that's is actually amazing. Yep.
Oh, so you were inspired by the
Yeah, it's just because it
celebration
was
yesterday.
Eid.
Today
Yeah, yeah. So today I've covered my hair, and I mean, is it a boo boo?
Should have wore that yesterday.
I was in the house yesterday.
But yeah.
Yeah, we were all in the house. Yeah, that's the thing.
I'm saying I didn't step out yesterday, so I couldn't have worn it yesterday. That's why I'm wearing it today. And I mean, Barry said some people celebrated it yesterday, some would do it yesterday. So, yeah, right?
Well, it was a possibility, not not a statement. But that's the thing. Sometimes that's how it is. But I think we have not seen that this year, have we? No, I think everybody's like on the same, you know, place. This year.
Okay. So yeah, African fashion. I mean, I believe African fashion has moved from a place where it's just solely African fashion, where you people just dress traditionally to go for occasions. I mean, these days we have bought into different things. You could see somebody wear a dress and it's jeans paired with maybe an Ankara top, or it's jeans and an Ankara top sewn together. So I believe African fashion has evolved. It has we have learnt other new things and we have added it to our own. And sometimes people talk about how it's just Western culture, it's just people buying it. But sometimes people dress and you still see the African in them, because somebody might wear a Western, like might be dressed in a Western way, but you see them wearing like maybe a necklace, a bead necklace. You see them hold a big bag. You see them wear bead earrings and all of that. So sometimes people dress solely African, but sometimes we just put two or three different cultures together. But then there are some that you see a person dressed like that and you know, they're coming from this place, especially when it comes to like South Africans. You know, they dress and then there's so much beads in them.
Yeah.
So you see a person dressed like that and then all of a sudden he's from this place, or this is the culture he or she is trying to represent.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Talking about the South Africans, I know with the Zulu per se, their dressing tells you which stage of life they are in. Because if it's a young girl, she keeps her hair short. She cuts her hair short. And then, yeah, for those in the traditional places with a lot of beads, and then they wear short skirts and made of beads and the rest. But if she's an engaged woman, she actually covers her breast with the beads. And then she starts to grow her hair as well. And then they wear long skirts. But if she's a married woman, she covers her whole body. And then they wear these clothes made of cowhide. It's thick enough so you don't see through. That tells you she's smoking form. And then they keep their hair growing longer. So that tells you, okay, this is a married woman, this is a young girl, this is an engaged woman. So their beads and all the way they dress actually speak for them. And they have different ethnic groups and the way they dress. I came across this group of people, I've forgotten where they're from, but they use the red earth. They mix it with wood ash, and then they just smear it on their head. Not smear as an estate, they literally coat their hair in it. And I don't know the pictures. Maybe you put the pictures on the screen, but they coat their hair. Yes, they coat their hair, and it's that thick, and it's meant to actually protect the hair and smear it all over their body and protect their skin as well from the sun. And this actually promotes hair growth. So when you actually, yes, when you see them like that, you know that she's from this place, she's from that thing. And they put these iconic ancient, it's made of this animal skin in the middle part of the hair. So it's like every place and then what they wear and what it signifies, and what it actually does for them as well. I love the beats. I love the beats the Kenyans actually do. I mean, it's just, I don't know, I find it beautiful.
Speaking of beads, I mean, even the colors. I think the Maasai of Kenya, yes, the white represents peace.
Peace,
Yeah. And when they use it, the blue represents water, and their preferred color is usually the red, which signifies bravery or as a warrior. So they tend to interchange these colors when they find them. But I mean, Mami talked about the evolution of the African fashion trend, and you can even see that even in the diaspora. Usually, when you talk about the civil rights movement in those days, where they began to own their nature, because I mean, before the civil rights movement, I mean, fashion in the Western world was more Eurocentric, where the epitome of beauty was represented by a white lady with a straight hair or blonde hair and everything.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
you had a lot of African Americans out there buying hair straighteners and trying to, do all kinds of things to their hair and everything.
Yes.
So straighten their hair, but eventually, I think with all the civil rights movements and the engagement that came with it, I mean, they began to appreciate what their color and the African heritage
African,
meant, and so
Africanness, yeah.
yes, that was the start of Afro and everything, keeping a lot of hair and just basically trying to start to look at the black personality and appreciate it and not feel like it's a defect or something. And
That's true.
yes, and I think that was the game changer from all of it anyway.
That's fire.
That's true.
I think even in the diaspora, I think music also brought about a certain sense of fashion statements. The hip hop and how it brought about, those, like I said, those baggy jeans, those huge T-shirts, those
Those
New York
wide leg
hats.
pants,
Exact-
drags, and
yes.
all of those things are
You know?
coming back into fashion
Right,
now.
exactly. You look at an iconic figure like James Bond, the way he dresses, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
But those jeans and durags, where did they actually come from? Where did they start from?
I think, like Barry said,
it's
in the Americas,
the
like hip hop
Americas,
culture.
yeah, the hip hop culture
the hip hop
influenced it.
culture.
That means more like because it was like, okay, we picked the fashion from them for those who were in the hip hop music there.
I would want to say that because initially the jean material itself was not meant for fashion. It was meant for factory workers. Okay, yeah, it was meant for people who are like very, very working in these industrial places and everything. But as it moved on, time fast forward, now it's something that you can wear for long. I mean, you get a jean, you can wear it for like I don't even know, for 1 year, and it's still But along the way, it got to a point. You know what? It started fusing into music. Hip hop came in. You need to wear that big. At least it made them comfortable because as a hip hop rapper, you wouldn't be in a suit and a tie. You'd want to be in that plain white T-shirt. You'd want to be in that cap.
Oh,
You'd
you
want
see,
to be
all
in
those
that
shades.
baggy
When
jeans.
she mentioned, hip hop culture, it's just the thing with African Americans out there, and I mean, they need to be saluted for how they turned around the whole system. Because, I mean, being called the N-word and somehow they managed to own it, and I mean, they had a way of doing things, and in American, lingo, they would say we are cool. So they just have a way of, using stuff.
Yeah.
Being cool.
Okay, yes. So they are considered a cool. Before, you wouldn't want anything to associate yourself with the African American community. Now, a lot of them want to be associated with it for one
Oh
reason or the other.
yeah.
Just so they can be seen as cool.
Exactly.
exactly.
Even
So-
the other guys from the majority group, they get themselves in these baggy jeans and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yes,
you
they
know?
do.
Okay. So
It's to fit
even
in.
when they try stuff that are more more Afrocentric. They're like, nah, this is not it. This is just definitely white
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So so the turnaround there is massive. It's really massive. And these days, we are seeing, thanks to globalization, we are seeing a lot more African, displays it's traveled globally. Okay, you are seeing a lot more dashikis in videos and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are seeing a lot more agbada out there. Yes,
yeah.
people trying. So African culture is global. It's global now for one reason or the other. We've seen kente being rocked every now and then.
Yeah.
Yes, and for one reason or the other, I think even in our base Ghana here, just want to talk about kente. One other material we don't promote enough is the fugu, which comes from the north.
Are you sure?
Are you
We don't
sure?
promote it
I
enough.
don't-
No,
I
then
don't-
probably you're not
Maybe-
aware of
No,
it.
listen.
Okay, you mean
before get-
outside Ghana?
Look, listen. You see, outside of Ghana, when you talk about kente, everybody knows where it comes from.
Okay.
Ghana.
Okay.
But you hardly hear of fugu. And for me, even what vexes me is the fact that sometimes it gets labeled as Northern Kente.
The Northern Kente.
It's not called Northern Kente. It's
Yes,
called fugu.
if people call
Yeah.
it that
Well, it's
sometimes.
because they don't know, I believe.
No.
They don't
Ignorance
know.
is not an excuse. Learn it.
I don't
So
I don't think
I've
think
heard
it's
that before.
ignorance. I just think it looks like
Kente.
kente.
No,
Yes.
it doesn't
And then
mix
it
it
doesn't
look
look
of
like
like no.
sometimes.
No.
You see, I think it's the first thing they got.
No, but
idea.
I
The
think
first
so.
thing
I
they
think
got
Mame
to
has a
see,
point.
what
Yeah.
they saw first was
Yeah.
the kente, and then
No,
the
now-
kente was woven with different colors, and the
I
fugu
think
is also woven.
is
so
also woven,
they
right?
see it like that, like okay, this is
It's
a
a bit
different
I think the
type, or
fugu
this
is
is a
in the
version
fugu. They
type.
don't use bright colors like they do in the kente.
Oh, they're
You
very,
see-
there's
And
some that are bright, but the
and
fugu is tighter.
and
the looks
there
are
are
tighter.
kentes that are thicker
Oh yeah.
than others, right?
Yes.
And these thick ones are a bit similar to the way the fugu material, feels. So I want to believe that is.
I think that is what
you see-
informed
We're
them
not
calling
justifying
it.
You see,
them.
language is very
No, so
important.
then, wait,
No,
so
listen.
then,
Language
then,
is very
then probably
important.
those from the Volta region should also be upset that the one from
it-
there is also
it's-
called the Voltarian.
It's not right. It's
Do
called
they
Northern
call it
Kente.
that
There's
way?
nothing
Yeah,
like Northern
but
Kente.
in
And besides,
Volta
the
is
Northern
Kente.
region comprises of a lot of areas.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you are essentially doing is lumping all of them
I'm
up.
together, yeah. That's
Kente.
what.
Exactly.
So you.
Okay, so it has a name.
It's fugu.
That's all I'm saying.
And the people have to recognize it.
Exactly. Just pronounce it as
No,
it is.
is
If you
it-
don't know, but don't call it Northern
But,
Kente. It's
but
not.
hold on, is it even called fugu? Is that the name?
That's what it's popularly referred to as
The
or
material?
Fugu. Yes, and when it's
yeah.
depending on the size
I
or
thought
the
it's-
batakari is
The
is-
batakari is
is the way
dress,
it
the
is
fugu
used.
is the
the material.
this thing, material.
Okay,
Really?
then I
Yes.
think we need to go back and learn because
I think so. 'cause
even
I
when
thought-
they call the
thought
batakari fugu sometimes.
Exactly, yes.
No, it's the way it's
And
used.
batakari is not even that's if we go deep down, batakari is the 3-in-1 thing. That's what the Hausa call batakari.
The agbada is.
Exactly.
Agbada.
Yes, that's what they call it. Because in Nigeria, you
So
find
it-
different types of houses there. Others would say batakari, others would say agwada, and that's it. So I all along I thought that was fugu, the one they sew and wear with the flare at the
Well,
bottom.
So
Guys,
we'll call it
guy ball.
So the,
Yeah, so-
the,
So
the
relax,
fabric-
relax.
It's not Northern Kente.
So it's not yeah,
It's
it's
fugu.
not Northern Kente. It's what? It's fugu.
So let's.
The fugu material.
Hafiz.
It's fugu. Don't
Pow-
worry.
power to- power to the fugu.
We'll start addressing it properly. It's fugu.
Yeah.
Not.
No, but I
nothing
think it's very
Kente.
important. No, I think he has a point. But
Yeah,
but in
he
Ghana, but I can tell you for a fact, in Ghana,
Really?
I can tell you for a fact that it is one of the most worn attire. I'm telling you.
There used to be a time.
No, now you can go. You watch more morning shows. You watch interviews and all of these offices. This
Oh, no, I don't-
politics.
No, I'm not
I don't
saying
think
I'm
we
not
should
saying people
use
don't
that
wear,
as
but
a
I'm saying
standard.
there used to be a time where you saw it
It was
everywhere.
raining everywhere.
Really?
Yes, there was
Oh,
a
then
time
even
where you
so-
saw it everywhere.
Yes.
because for the kente, for instance, I mean it's more of like occasional, thingy. Like you wear it
No,
based on
Kente is
occasion,
huge. I
you
mean,
know?
it's
Right
gone
now,
global.
yes.
No,
Yeah.
I know. Like
So
the,
you
the,
see
the
Kente
wo-
anywhere, you are thinking. I mean, after the George Floyd
The
incident,
Floyd thing. Yeah.
I mean,
So,
you saw
our people
senators
were-
and
yeah, it was-
taking
they
a
were being-
knee
Pelosi-
and in it and
Pelosi-
I
everything.
heard they were being sued.
Pelosi.
Like they didn't ask for
Who
permission.
was you in them?
Real, I heard it was there all over the place. Did you see the news article?
So, I mean, so
They've been sued for not asking for permission to
Pelosi,
use the
yeah.
kente. That kind of thing.
I feel the evolution is good. One thing too we have is the what we call the Ankara, the African print.
Print,
Oh,
yeah.
that is
You have it
everywhere
every-
now.
Now is like in your face.
It should be.
No, I'm not saying in your face as in a bad thing.
But
I'm
you
saying in a
know-
good thing because I'm just saying right now it's everywhere and people are getting more creative with it by the day.
It's Africa's time, but what's disturbing about it is that recently there was this news report about how fabrics that resemble these designs are coming even from China these
From
days.
China, yes.
they
Oh no,
are.
that,
They
that one was
actually
even there
are.
long
No, but
time. Long time.
even with this Ankara thing,
Long time.
I read that it's been like one of the countries in the Western world that produces like Netherlands. That's why we have the likes of the Hollands and the stuff, right? And these are super
Well,
expensive
there's no.
cloths.
It's actually called Vlisco. So, but
No,
because you
there's
can't.
no.
I'm just saying,
Let's go.
that's
Let's
the
let's go.
Holland.
Is a brand. Though.
There's a
That's what I'm
Holland is
saying,
also a
but-
Let's go
brand.
is a
It's
brand.
But it's
Holland
manufactured in
is a
Holland.
type-
That's where it comes
But
from.
that's what I'm saying. These designs are more of like African influenced designs.
Okay.
You get it. So what I'm saying is that these designs are more of like African, but it's being produced outside Africa and sold to us again.
No, it's like I read a bit of history,
Okay.
right? So apparently, the Ankara fabric isn't ours. It's like some traders traveled to the Netherlands. I forgot some of the countries, and then they saw it, and then they brought it. So when they brought them down,
Okay.
then we saw it, and we started making our own versions.
Whoa.
Okay. So then the
So-
designs is what
So
we
the
can claim.
designs is what we can claim. It's like we saw it, it was nice,
Okay.
and then we decided to make it our own and make it like in our own way.
Right.
So it's something we bought into, and then we made it our own. So I'll say it's like Africa popularized the Ankara
Yes.
cloth. Sorry.
Yeah. I think that's true.
Anyway, right.
That's true.
So that's why you see some of these Edinkra symbols in
In
cloth,
some-
because
yes.
because then we accepted it, made it ours, and then we started to produce our own.
Right.
Well, that's
Fair
that's
enough.
very true. I think it's good. I'm happy we get to see it. I mean, out there, people are using it for things, bags, clothes, like different things.
Have you actually seen an Ankara cloth bouquet before?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's an image on our Instagram.
Okay.
Wow.
A bouquet made from fabric, and it's so pretty.
I still want to believe there's an element of an African influence to what they started doing before those who traveled there.
And brought it.
Exactly. I still want to believe because it's just I don't know, but it's just African.
It
Yeah,
feels.
African
It just looks like
I'm so
if you feel like
Yeah,
from home.
yeah, I get it. I
You
get
get
it.
me? There's just something about it. Anyway.
Okay, thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you guys. Don't forget, if you have thoughts about it, you can reach us on Facebook at Africa Global Radio, Twitter and Instagram at AF Global Radio. We've been looking at the various dressing styles, unique, yes, and we put some of the images on the screen if you were watching this so you could see it.